So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy and in today's video we are filming a spring cleaning of my bookshelves because I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's some spring cleaning that needs to be done. I have these main two shelves and then I also have other books dotted around my house, and honestly I'm just feeling like I need to start making space for these piles of books that I just have. And it just doesn't look very aesthetic. So in this video we are doing a organisation and unhaul, but first we are going to be choosing the books I want to get rid of, as well as reorganising my bookshelves, making them look prettier, making all the books actually fit on the shelves because they just don't. So before we do get cracking with the video, please do make sure you're subscribed and you are following me on Twitter and Instagram, where I'm at @bookbellreads. All of the links will be down in the description bar, and let's get cracking with the video. It's a little bit of a weird angle here. I feel like I'm a kids TV presenter or I'm presenting the weather, not really sure what this is. But anyway, these are the two main shelves that I will be decluttering today. I'm kind of like a bit nervous because I did a big book unhaul before I moved house last July, and you'll have seen that video. I will link it if not. But basically I cleared out over 100 books. But the thing is, since then I've acquired easily 100 books, so you see my dilemma. But I do just think I need to be really ruthless. If a book has been on my shelves for, I would say, longer than a year and a half, and I have no intention of reading it in the next 6 months, it needs to go. And obviously I am not going to get rid of any favourite books, any books that I've read and absolutely loved, or any books that are on my TBR. But I think those books that I have acquired where, you know, I have no intention of reading them anytime soon, I think they can be rehomed and, you know, given a better place. So I think without further ado, it's time to tackle the shelves. So this is the chaos that I'm currently dealing with. Yeah, I don't really know what to do in terms of the layout of my shelves. For example, at the top right one here, I usually have a Sarah J Maas shelf, but honestly I've got too many Sarah J Maas books now, so I might need several. I just don't know what layout I want, and I also think that, you know, I've got quite a lot of books here. I feel like maybe I need to be a bit more cutthroat and just get rid of the books that I know I'm not going to read anymore. Like, there's just so many, you know? So I've decided I am not being cutthroat enough. I need to be a bit more ruthless. So I'm gonna go over the shelves again. Bear in mind, I also have this below me. So not all of those books on the floor are going to be unhauled. I'm going to have to go through them and decide which ones I want to keep. These were just the books that just looked a bit out of order on my shelves, so I've got a lot of work. hours later, I think I'm done. I've realized that even though I am throwing away a lot of books, I still need to throw away more, but I am considering just getting another bookshelf just to solve this problem. I might put it here, and yeah, I think another shelf is needed. And to be fair, I think I do quite well because I only have these two bookshelves, and then I'll pan you guys around. We have this little nook over here, and those are my books on the top shelf over here. So that's really the only places where I have to store books. So I think another shelf is needed, but without further ado, let me give you a quick overview of my reorganized bookshelves before we get on to the unhaul. So as you can see here is the reorganized shelves. I'm really happy I managed to get this Sarah J Maas shelf pretty much perfect. I also put a lot of my Sarah J Maas books here just because the paperbacks obviously wouldn't really work with the hardback aesthetic I've got going on up here. So I really just love the look of these shelves. I think they look really cute. I've also got a few Brandon Sanderson books here as well, and I like how the majority of this shelf is just all white, and this one's just like all colourful and hardbacks. I think it just looks quite impactful. Then over to this side, I have the kind of predominantly black shelves here, where they've got predominantly like black covers, but with colourful like fonts or foil, whatever. So I do actually have my paperback A Court of Thorns and Roses series here. I have my Leigh Bardugo Six of Crows duology. And then we go down and it starts to get a little bit confusing in terms of the colour theme. I basically just tried here to make sure that it looked good and there were kind of similar colours going on. So I really like this section, how it's like all green. I like that it's all hardbacks here. On this one here, I like how it's just kind of like very small format hardbacks. The bottom shelves here are where it gets a bit kind of, I don't know, there doesn't seem to be an order. By this point, I was just like, get all the awkward kind of sized books just at the bottom, just to kind of file them away, just because they are awkward sizes, and most of them are books that I haven't actually read yet. So I thought, you know what, I'll just put them down there and save myself some space. I particularly love the pink shelf I've got going on here. And then this shelf here is just a kind of like amalgamation of paperbacks. So you can see it's just kind of all really random paperbacks, but I love this little like pink section. I think that's really cute. And those are my reorganized bookshelves. I really hope you like them. So guys, I have a lot of the books that I want to get rid of beside me, and we're just going to crack on because there's a lot. And I do think I've now been quite cutthroat, so let's go. So the first book I'm going to unhaul is Ali Smith's Autumn. I basically bought this because I wanted to get into this like whole series. It is a series of books based around the seasons. Years have passed and I've never picked this up. The only reason I have this is because it looks so aesthetic on my bookshelves, but I don't think that's a big enough reason for me to keep it. So it's going in the massive basket of things that I'm going to either sell or recycle if they are proofs. So the next one is The Financial Diet by Chelsea Fagan and Lauren Verhage, or Hage, however you pronounce it. I read this in a recent reading vlog and honestly didn't rate this book. I expected a lot more from it, but I didn't hate it. Like, I just kind of was a bit meh about it, which means if I don't completely love a book that I've already read, I'm not going to keep it on my shelves. Even though it does look so aesthetic and so gorgeous, I just don't have time or space for books that I've read and won't reread, so it's going in the basket. The next book is You're Crushing It by Lex Croucher. This is a proof, and I love Lex so much. She's like one of my, you know, favorite people online. This book I have already read, and as it is a proof copy, I'm going to recycle this because I don't have the finished copy, but I have read this, loved it, and just need to recycle it basically. The next one is another proof, and this was sent to me by Simon Schuster. This is Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen. This is a contemporary own voices story. I think it's described as Crazy Rich Asians meets Jenny Han, which honestly sounds amazing, but I've had this for about 2 years now and I still haven't read it. I just, if there's not the desire now to read it, I don't know when I will get to that point, if that makes sense. So I think I might just give this to a better home. I'm also not mad about YA contemporaries, so sadly this is going in the basket. Next one is another proof, and it is The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. So I've actually read this book and I didn't absolutely love it, but I did enjoy it, just not enough for me to keep on my shelves. This is a kind of Jane Austen-esque, basically a Jane Austen retelling about Mary Bennet. So I did rate this book and I enjoyed kind of like seeing the world from Mary's eyes, but I just didn't love it enough to keep it on my shelves. So it's going out of my life. Another Jane Austen themed book, and it is a non-fiction book called Jane on the Brain by Wendy Jones. I've never read this, and honestly, I would like to. I just don't think I'm going to be able to prioritize it at the minute in my reading. This is exploring the science of social intelligence with Jane Austen. So it's quite a, not academic, but it's more critical theory, and I honestly just don't see myself reading this like anytime soon, so I am going to give this away. The next book is one I really hoped that I would read at some point. It is Jog On by Bella Mackie. This is a non-fiction book all about Bella Mackie's experiences around running. And you know what? This got so much amazing hype and praise on publication, but just sadly, I don't know when I'll ever get around to reading this. And even though it sounds great, I really like Bella Mackie. Like, I think she's a great writer, but I'm just not convinced that this is a book that I will enjoy. So goodbye Jog On, it's time to jog on. Okay, so next up we have Great Goddesses by Nikita Gill. This is poetry all about kind of Greek myth. I just don't find that I turn to poetry at the minute, and I just have had this on my shelf for ages and I just don't think it's going to happen for me. I don't think I will get around to reading this one. So I'm also going to get rid of this. It is a gorgeous book, and I would keep it on my shelf for the aesthetic alone, but I need to be ruthless here. Like, I don't have a lot of shelf space, so it's going. Okay, so the next one is actually a proof that I'm just going to give to someone else, but I wanted to include it in this like unhaul. It is The Other Black Girl. This by Zakiya Delilah Harris. So I actually got sent 2 of these proofs. So I'm going to give this to one of my publishing pals who I believe hasn't read this yet. So this isn't kind of a throwing in the bin situation. It is just a giving away, giving it to someone who, you know, will enjoy it, because I have 2 proofs, so I don't want to hoard them all. The next book I'm unhauling is Anna Kay by Jenny Lee. So I still don't know if it's the right decision to unhaul this. I have heard really great things. So this is a retelling of Anna Karenina, and it's set in like modern day New York, all about the kind of elite, and I'm really tempted to keep this. Maybe I will keep this, you know. Oh guys, I don't know what to do. This is why I hate unhauls. Like, I love watching unhauls, but doing unhauls stresses me out. I think I just need to be like really harsh. I'm just gonna give it away. The next book is a book that has been on my shelves for, not gonna lie, about 4 or 5 years. It is Exquisite Captive by Heather Demetrios. So this is a fantasy book all about genie, and I think the main character is like a genie and she's like captive. This book sounds incredible, and it honestly sounds like something I would really enjoy, but sadly it's been 4 or 5 years. When am I ever going to actually read this? Like, if I haven't read this yet, I probably won't. So I'm just going to be harsh, and that's gone. So the next book is The Austen Girls by Lucy Worsley. This is about Jane Austen's nieces, and it is a middle grade, I believe. For some reason, I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I feel like I need to. And you know what? Maybe I will keep this. See, this is really bad because I keep giving books away, putting them in the unhaul pile, and then keeping them. Do I have room for this? No, I don't have room for this. It's going. Okay, the next one is a pretty easy unhaul. It is Star Wars The Last Jedi novel by Jason Fry. I bought this when I was in the throes of my Rey and Kylo Ren obsession, and The Last Jedi had just come out and I was like, I need the book. I need more of this in my life. Of course I haven't read this. This was an impulse purchase. Of course I haven't read it. So I think it needs to go. I don't see myself reading this novelization, to be perfectly honest. Even though I'm a massive Star Wars fan, I just don't know when I'll read that. Next up, we have a proof of Into the Crooked Place by Alexandra Christo. I've already read this proof, so I think I will give it another home and hopefully someone else can enjoy it like I did. So it's going in the basket, but it is a very beloved proof and I do love Ali Christo's writing. Okay, the next book I'm unhauling is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco. This is not the most economical of decisions. Basically, I ordered this book because I really want to read this series. However, it arrived in this tiny format. To compare it to an actual normal size book, it's like this, so it's very, very small. So this is called a B format paperback, and this is an A format, I believe. This is where my publishing jargon is being put to the test. But this just looks awkward on my shelves. It doesn't fit anywhere. I think I'm gonna buy the ebook, guys. So that's why I'm getting rid of Stalking Jack the Ripper. I'm also getting rid of this gorgeous proof of Sister Song, as I was kindly sent a finished copy. So I'm gonna keep that finished copy. This proof is gonna go to a better home, hopefully someone who enjoys it as much as I probably will. So haven't read this yet, but do love the proof. I think the proof is stunning. And ultimately, I'm very happy that I have a finished copy hardback. So off it goes to a better home. Okay, the next one is another proof I'm unhauling, and it's How to Fail. So this is by Elizabeth Day. This is a non-fiction book. I love Elizabeth Day's podcast of the same name. Honestly, I don't know when I'm gonna get around to reading this one. I feel really bad unhauling it, but I don't know, like, there's just so much non-fiction I want to read, and this just isn't at the top of my pile, unfortunately. So it's gonna have to go. So I don't know if I'm making another big mistake by unhauling this book. It is Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. This is book 2 in the A Discovery of Witches series. Basically, I remember reading A Discovery of Witches 2 years ago, and I've still not read the sequel, guys. So I think this has to go, sadly. I really do want to read this because this is basically set in like Tudor, Elizabethan England, and there is a time slip aspect. So I just don't think I'll ever get around to reading it. I'm gonna be brutally honest. The next book is You Do You by Sarah Knight. So this is Sarah Knight's series of like anti-self-help books where they're just kind of like really harsh advice. So I read this last year and I just didn't really get on with it very well. I didn't find it very groundbreaking. I can't really tell you any takeaways that I took from this book. So sadly, we are going to unhaul. Okay, the next book I'm unhauling, I've also had on my shelf for about 4 years. I've not read it yet, and I just don't know when I will. Like, I feel really bad unhauling all these books, but honestly, they're gonna go to a better home. Like, I am going to either give the finished copies to charity, or the proofs will go to people I know, etc. So they will be rehomed in a better place. But it is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan. This is a fantasy debut, and I have heard incredible things about this series. I think there's a sapphic love story in here as well, which did draw me to this book, but I just not read it. Like, it's been 4 years sitting on my shelves, and for some reason something else has taken importance over that. So I think it's just time for me to say goodbye. Okay, the next book I'm unhauling is Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. This was very kindly sent to me from Weidenfeld and Nicholson. Unfortunately, this is just collecting dust, and I just want it to go to a better home because I just don't know when I'll be able to read this book. I've heard loads of amazing things, but I just don't know when I'll be able to do it, really. The next book is Enchante by Gita Trelease. So I think I might actually have to keep this one. I didn't realize what this book was, but basically it's set in like revolutionary Paris, and It's about a girl who uses dark magic to basically make herself among the elite and like nestles into Louis XVI's court with Marie Antoinette. I'm gonna keep this one. I think I'm gonna keep it. I just don't have any room. I've kept it. I've decided to keep it. This unhaul has been very productive though. These are all the books that I am getting rid of and selling. So they've served me well. Thank you, books. I appreciate all you have done for me and my shelves. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this spring cleaning of my bookshelves, bookshelf organization. They're looking so good. And my unhaul, because we've all got to do an unhaul, you know? It's always good to declutter, clear your space. It's always a good thing. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you watching this video and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do consider hitting that subscribe button for more videos like this. And I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye.